This is the last lecture on budget line. In the previous video, we looked at a situation where John earns $5 as income and spends his entire income on apples and oranges. And this person saves nothing, borrows nothing. And price of an apple is given to us as $1 per apple. And price of an orange is again $1 per apple. Based on these numbers, in the last video, we figured out this person's consumption choices, and this is the same table we had in the previous video. Based on his consumption choices, we drew a budget line. We called this BL1, and what this reflects is consumption choices available to this person. And when this person is on the budget line, he saves or borrows nothing. Then we also know the intercept on the y-axis is his income divided by price of the good on the y-axis, which is price of oranges. And on the horizontal axis, the intercept is income divided by price of an apple, and we have quantity of apples on the horizontal axis. And then we also figured out the slope of this budget line, which is negative price of apple divided by price of an orange, and in this case it will be -1. Now in this video what we do is we compare different budget lines to this budget line 1 in terms of consumption choices or real income. Now let us look at another situation that pertains to John. Now John's nominal income or income is $10, and price of an apple and price of an orange is still $1. So this person's income has increased. It has increased from $5 to $10, and price of an apple and price of an orange stay the same. Based on this, we can figure out consumption choices available to this person. Once again, if this person decides to buy no apples, based on income and prices, we know the maximum amount of oranges this person will buy will be 10 oranges. If this person decides to buy one apple, he's left with $9, and so he can buy a maximum of 9 oranges. And in this way, we create an exhaustive list of consumption choices available to John given income and prices of all goods that he consumes. Based on his consumption choices, when income is $10, price of an apple equals price of an orange, which is $1, we draw a budget line. Let's call this BL2. What is this intercept on the y-axis? It is 10 because income divided by price of an orange. How much is the intercept on the x-axis? It is again 10. Income divided by price of an apple. And what is the slope of this budget line? It will be -1. That is price of an apple divided by price of an orange. So we have this budget line 2, which pertains to this new financial situation. In this diagram, we draw both budget lines 1 and 2 so that we can compare consumption choices available to John under BL2 relative to BL1, where BL1 and BL2 are budget lines 1 and 2. And so this blue line is budget line 1. This is based on the financial information that income of John is $5 and price of an apple equals price of an orange, which is $1. The red line is budget line 2, and this is based on the information that his income is now $10 and price of an apple equals price of an orange, which is $1, which is the same as we had under budget line 1. Now, just by looking at these two budget lines, we know that consumption choices implied by BL2 is much greater than consumption choices implied by BL1, and thus BL2 implies higher real income relative to BL1, and this is what I have written here. Now, why does BL2 imply higher real income relative to BL1? Simply because John's nominal income has increased, but nothing has happened to price of an orange or price of an apple. So one of the reasons why a person may have higher real income in two good case is when nominal income increases and prices stay. Now let us look at another situation. Here John's income is $5 and price of an apple falls to 50 cents a piece and price of an orange stays the same. So price of an apple is 50 cents and price of an orange is $1. So based on this financial information, we can write down consumption choices available to this person. For example, if this person decides to buy no apples, how much money does this person have? His entire income. And since price of an orange is $1, he can buy a maximum of 5 oranges with his income. Now, price of an apple is 50 cents, and suppose this person decides to buy 2 apples. When this person decides to buy 2 apples, he has spent $1 total on apples. So he's left with $4 of income, and so he can buy a maximum of 4 oranges. And in this way, we can complete this table, which reflects his consumption choices based on income and price. Now, based on new financial situation for John, where as compared to budget line 1, the only thing which has changed is price of an apple. It has fallen. The income is $5 and price of an orange is $1. So based on this, we wrote down consumption choices, and we know the maximum number of apples this person can buy is 10 units when this person decides to buy no oranges. And if this person decides to buy only oranges, given in prices and income, this person can buy a maximum of 5 oranges. So this line we have pertaining to this new financial situation, let's call this BL3, and just calculate the slope of BL3. It will be -1/2. That's something you should be able to do. Now let us compare budget line 3 to budget line 1. And so this blue line is still budget line 1. This red line is your budget line 3, and BL3 is based on this information. Income stays the same relative to BL1, price of an apple falls relative to BL1, and price of an orange stays the same. Now look at the following. Look at consumption choices implied by BL1 and compare them to consumption choices implied by BL3. And what you find is there are more consumption choices available to John under BL3 relative to BL1, or thus we can make a statement that BL3 implies higher real income relative to BL1. And why has this happened? The nominal income of this person has stayed the same. Price of the other good has also stayed the same, but price of an apple has fallen. So if everything else stays the same and price of one good falls, this will lead to higher real income. So two reasons as to how we can have higher real income. One, if nominal income increases and prices stay the same, real income will increase. Another situation, when price of one good falls and everything else stays the same, again an increase in real income. Now let us look at another financial situation. John's nominal income is $5, which is the same we had under BL1. But now price of an apple is 50 cents. It's lower than what we had under BL1. And price of an orange increases to $2.50 a piece. So it's much higher than what we had under BL1. And using full numbers or whole numbers, let us look at his consumption choices. For example, John decides to buy no apples. What is the max amount of oranges he can buy when each orange costs $2.50? It will be 2 oranges. If John decides to buy 5 apples and price of each apple is 50 cents, he will spend $2.50 on apples and he's left with $2.50. With that he can buy only 1 orange. Why? Because 1 orange costs $2.50. And then you have this third choice. When John decides to buy only apples, in such a case he'll buy no oranges. Now here I have drawn budget line 4, and this budget line 4 is based on this financial information. When John's income is $5, price of an apple is 50 cents. So the maximum amount of apples John can buy is 10 apples. What about oranges? Income is $5. Price of an orange is $2.50. So what's the maximum amount of oranges he can buy? It will be 2 oranges. So based on this, we draw this budget line. Now once again in this diagram, we have 2 budget lines. The blue budget line is BL1, and we already know the financial information on which this is based. Then we have this red line, which is BL4, and this is based on the following financial information. Nominal income of this person is $5, price of an apple is 50 cents, and price of an orange is $2.50. Now look at the following. What can you say about consumption choices between BL1 and BL4? Where do you have more consumption choices? If you look at this, you find here this triangle represents more consumption choices under BL4 relative to BL1. What about this part of the triangle? This represents more consumption choices under BL1 relative to BL4. So when you have a situation like this, in this case you have to make a precise calculation. And what do these budget lines imply? They imply a triangle. And so what we need to do is calculate the area of the triangle. And we know area of a triangle is half base times height. So this formula we use and calculate what consumption choices we have under each budget line. Now look at BL1. What is the base? It is 5. What is the height? It is 5. And so what will be the area implied by BL1? It will be half times 5 times 5, and you will get 12.5. What about area implied by BL4? It will be half times base. Base here is 10 times height, which is 2, and you solve for this, you get 10. So based on these areas, when you compare, you find area implied by BL1 is greater than area implied by BL4, and hence BL1 implies higher real income relative to BL4, and this is based on these areas implied by each budget line. And so this is what we have in terms of comparisons. We know consumer theory has 2 parts, budget constraint. We are done with this discussion. And next what we do is we move on to consumer preferences. Thank you for your time.